you want to know my opinion on what I think, just keep on watching. What's good? It's your girl Nisi here, and I'm back with a new video. And I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my loyal subscribers. If you're new here, subscribe to your girl. But yeah, we've hit the 600 mark, and I'm trying to reach 1K by August. So thank you so much. And only 400 to go, and I've almost hit my 4,000 watch hours. I'll put a picture here. So yeah, thank you so much. But yes, guys, for today's video. So basically, there's this couple. The woman wants to divorce her husband because he didn't go and support her while she was graduating. But sadly, everyone's graduating, people in kindergarten, nursery, high schools, primary school, like everyone's, you know what I mean? It's just end of school year, so everyone's graduating. And shout out to everyone that's passed all their exams and who are getting their certificates. Big shout out to you lot. Because, yeah, it's been a tough year. Like, yo, it's been a tough year. I mean, in the world, a lot of stuff is going on. But yeah, back to the story. So there's this woman who's planning on divorcing her husband because he didn't go to her graduation. But sadly enough, his daughter was graduating from, I think it's called pre-K in America. So he had to pick either support his daughter or support his wife. And this wife is a stepmom to his daughter. So, you know what I mean? It's a child he's had from a previous marriage or relationship. So the woman's feeling some type of way, and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna divorce you because you're not there to support me." And it's just like, so you want him to pick you over his daughter? Like, can we just let that sink in? I know there are a lot of people out there that do put their spouse or their partners before their kids, and that's dead ass wrong. You know what I mean? I'm currently back in the dating pool, and I would never put a man over my kids. You know what I mean? And vice versa. If I'm the guy I'm dating, if he's got children, I don't want him to put me over his kids. Like, it just don't make sense. So I'm gonna roll the clip of this woman popping off saying, "Oh, her man don't love her. He just wants to embarrass his black woman," and it's like, it's not that. He either has to go to his wife's graduation or his daughter's. And with kids, they want that support. Like, next week, my daughter's got sports day coming up. I've got an appointment, but I have to cut the appointment short so I can make that event, because I don't want my daughter to be the only child with a parent that's not there. You know what I mean? Her dad can't make it, so the only parent she's got is me. And trust me, kids look in the crowd, if it's a talent show or graduate, they are looking in the audience to see their parents. And, they want their parents to be you know what I mean, in the audience cheering them on, gassing them up. So the fact that the wife is feeling like divorce is big, you know what I mean? It's like these days people do not take marriage seriously. It's just like you're gonna divorce him because of that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm gonna roll the clip and I will be back with my commentary.
That dad didn't care one bit about going to that pre-K graduation. He wanted to humble his wife. It's not about competing with the child or anything like that. A double masters? I often do we say when a woman is going up, her man is going to find a way to humble her. He's going to find a way to redirect attention on him. There's no better cover than trying to pretend like you're an active dad. A double masters? That's a major accomplishment. And your husband not be there? Your husband, not your cousin, not your brother, not your homie. Your husband? This wasn't a high school or bachelor's degree graduation for his child. This was a pre-K graduation. He could have easily had some type of celebration with his child the day before, or just met up with them later when they hung out to go out to eat or whatnot. He didn't really want to go to his wife's double master ceremony. That's all there is to it. And if she's smart enough to get a double master's, she's smart enough to read the room. And I promise you this wasn't the first thing. I promise you this wasn't the first thing. Women are very patient. Women put up with a lot before they call it quits. This was just the straw that broke the camel's back. That dad didn't care one bit about going to that pre-K.
Yeah, guys, so you just heard that. And please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. When I say TikTok is divided, some people are agreeing with this woman and some people are like, no, that's not it. Now, I do agree with when she said, as women, we put up a lot, especially black women. This is not giving he hates his wife or he's hating on her because, you know what I mean, she's going up in life. Shout out to the wife, first of all, a double masters. Big ups to her. Even going back into education as an adult. It's not easy. Trust me, been there, done that. You know, when you're surrounded around a lot of younger people, teenagers, and you're like the oldest person in the class, you know what I mean? It's not easy. So big up her for achieving her double masters. But what she said about the kid, like, oh, he could have celebrated the day before or after the event, he could have done that with his wife. He could have gone to the pre K graduation, supported his daughter, drove, to pick his wife up, or if his wife already finished, met at a nice restaurant. He could have surprised her with a nice celebration meal after, and then they all could have celebrated as one because you have both graduated. Like, what is wrong with sharing the love? Like, you know what I mean? When you get with someone who's got kids, yeah, it's a blended family now, innit? Like, you're meant to see that child as your daughter or as your son. Where is the love? Like, it's given, you gotta pick me, or you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, for me, don't get with someone that's got kids if you know deep in your heart you can't, be understanding and share that love, because you have to share his time, his love, his affection, because he has a child that was before you. Now, if he had a baby on you, that's completely different. But if that child was there before you, then what are you doing? When he proposed to you and you said yes and you went down the aisle and you did the whole, devoting in front of God, in front of your friends and family, you did it in front of his child as well, to be there, you know what I mean, not to one day he has to pick between you and his child. This is mad.
That dad didn't care one bit about going to that pre-K graduation. He wanted to humble his wife. It's not about competing with.
Go check out the previous video if you haven't already, but I definitely don't agree with the previous poster. I absolutely believe that children, especially that age, they're going to be on the stage, they're going to be watching their other friends and their parents come, and it's going to affect them forever. I don't care if I was getting my a double master's degree. I would miss my own graduation over my child's preschool graduation. Children are so fragile, whereas adults can understand more. So that wife should understand that that man has a child that is preschool age, and those ages are so fragile. So no, I don't think he was trying to humble her. I think he was trying to be a good dad. And if she's a good wife, she would understand him.
A shout out to her, and I agree with everything she said. He wasn't trying to humble his wife. No offense. The wife is making it all about her, and it's like, boo boo, it's not about you. Like, shout out to you getting double masters, but it's about his daughter. And like she said, it's such a raw age. They're like sponges, you know what I mean? That 0 to 5 year old, they're like sponges. They're very sensitive. So everything matters. And they do remember a lot from that age. So graduation is big. Like, that's their first big achievement. So the fact that the dad's like, no, I'm going to be there. Like, kudos to him and big shout out. Because again, there will be a lot of parents that will put their spouse or their new partner in front of their child. Well, yeah, it's nothing about humbling a wife. It doesn't give me that vibe. Obviously, we don't know these people personally, so we don't know. But again, this thread has been put out, and allegedly she's gonna divorce him. So, the conversation is, what would you do? And for me, if I was with someone and he had kids and he put his kids before me, that's fine, because I'm gonna do exactly the same. So, you know what I mean? The feeling is mutual. I love that she spoke on, if it was her daughter and they were both graduating on the same day, she would miss her own graduation to support her daughter. I'm like, yeah, like, I know that's right. Listen, from when you become a parent, your feelings, your whatever you want to do takes a backseat. Your kids always come first. Your kids are number one.
That dad that decided to go to his daughter's pre-K graduation instead of his wife's master degree graduation, why are you surprised? If he doesn't go to his daughter's graduation, he is not showing up as a father for his child. And people are saying, well, it's a preschool graduation, she's not going to remember it. I remember my preschool graduation ceremony. I remember my kindergarten ceremony and after party. You guys don't give kids credit where credit is due. And yes, that's his wife getting a master degree. I think she's getting a double master degree. But any good mother would say, go to the kid's graduation. Show up for your daughter. Because, like, you can buy your wife a car. You can take her out to a fancy dinner. You can do all of these things because all you do as someone with a master degree, you walk up and they say your name. It's not that big of a deal. But to your daughter, this means the world. And if you don't show up, you're setting a bad expectation of how her dad shows up to things that are supposed to be important to her. To the women saying that the dad is wrong, you're the problem. Honestly, be so for real.
Yeah, shout out to him. That's my guy. And a lot of my previous videos, I've used his clips, and he's right. Like always, like he said, the fancy meal, what I suggested before, buy her a car. You know what I mean? You can go celebrate anytime because you're adults. But well, kids' time unlimited. But like he said, he remembers his. Graduating from nursery, kindergarten. Now this pre-K. Like they remember. Trust me. Don't underestimate these kids. There's a lot of adults where you speak to them now, especially like Disney stars, and they remember stuff from when they were way younger, when they first started acting or their first time on set. They remember, you know what I mean? And especially when it was a negative thing. So, like he said, if the dad didn't show up, they're always going to remember that. And it's just like they might not take education seriously because they're like, well, what's the point? I graduated and none of my parents showed up. So, you know what I mean? What's the point? But I agree with everything he said. He's right as usual. And it is shocking how a lot of women, and they're probably parents themselves, who were like, oh no, that husband's dead ass wrong, da 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 da. And it's just like, so would you do this to your kid for your husband? If he passed with two masters, would you just push your kid to the side to go and support him? Like, that's crazy. If that's the case, that's crazy. But yeah, like you said, a lot of women are on the woman's, like the wife's side, crazy enough. I thought it would have been maybe more men because we're mothers, you know what I mean? We're the nurturers, like we're used to carrying kids and being there for our kids. But again, there are a lot of women that put their boyfriends, not even husbands, boyfriends, over their children. So I'm not surprised.
So, did y'all see that post that's going around where this guy said that he cannot attend his wife's college graduation because he's going to be attending his daughter's pre K graduation? Yeah, let's talk about it. So, he basically was saying that his daughter's mom let him know that her pre K graduation date is the same date as the wife's college graduation to get her master's degree. Now, he texted the wife to let her know that he cannot attend her event because he needs to attend his daughter's pre-K graduation. Now, I'm all for showing up as a father, but we are talking about a pre-K graduation that this little girl may or may not remember, and she'll have many more graduations to come over your wife's college graduation to get a double master's degree, all for a macaroni necklace ceremony, is crazy work. You will be good and divorced.
Not the macaroni necklace. Like, what is going on? But again, guys, on this channel, I'm non biased, so I show both sides. But oh my gosh, not the macaroni necklace. So we all know whose side she's on. Now, I don't know if that's true when she said that the husband just texted the wife. If he did that, he's dead ass wrong. That's a conversation to have in person. Like, don't just, you know what I mean? Because it's going to be upsetting that he can't make it. But then on top of that, you've just texted me, like, oh, sorry, babe, I know you're graduating, but I'm not going to make it because I'm going to my daughter's, you know what I mean, pre K graduation. No, that's a conversation we need to have, and we need to have a plan. Fair enough, you might be going to your daughter's K pre graduation at this time, but what are we doing after to celebrate? You know what I mean? My double masters. But yeah.
No, it doesn't matter which side of the argument that you take. I'm gonna say something that every single one of us can agree. If this was this lady's biological child, we would not be having this conversation right now. Because if that was her biological child, she would do everything within her power to ensure that her husband showed up for that child's graduation. And there's a high chance that she would even want to miss her own graduation if that was her biological child. You see, the thing is, a lot of us enter into these relationships with people who have existing kids and expect to be placed above them in every situation. And I'm going to say this, not everybody is built to be a step parent. I'm even going to go as far as to say not a lot of women are built to be step parent. I am not a step parent, but my wife is. I have 4 kids, and one of those kids is not for my wife. There are things that I have learned, and there are a lot of things that does not come natural to you as a step parent. you will still love that child, you will still do everything for that child, but a lot of the times it doesn't occur naturally. So for the people who are entering into new relationship with people who have existing children, please ensure that this is a conversation that you guys have in the interim before entering into the relation. And the part that I don't understand, how is this a divorceable offense? Relationship is on solid footing. There's no way that this could have been something that could not be talked over. I understand that this could be the source of some contention in the relationship, but this is definitely not something that you will decide, oh, this is it. And this is something that could be worked out. The fact that it reached all the way to you wanting a divorce says that there's a lot of insecurities within the relationship. Before, this is not the first time something like this has happened. This could have been just a reason that she needed to say, okay, listen, this is not working out. She probably wanted to leave before and use this, and he finally gave her a reason to leave.
Shout out to that brother there. I loved that accent. But yeah, he was right. Like the fact that this is led up all the way to divorce. That's what I mean. Like marriage doesn't hold no value anymore. Like what? Like you can't be serious. But like he said, she's probably wanted a way out, and this is it. This is the best excuse she's got. But like he said, a lot of people get into relationships with people and think, oh, when they've got kids, oh, it don't matter. No, it does matter because if that parent is a really good parent, those kids are his or her life. So it does matter. But then situations like this happen, and then you get put second, and then you're like in your feelings, and it's just like, well, what did you think was gonna happen? You know what I mean? So I definitely agree. Not everyone on this earth is like, I don't know what the word is, able to be a step parent. It's not for everyone, just like everyone's not meant to be a mother or a father. It's not for everyone, you get. But don't pretend that, you know what I mean? I love that child. I'm going to love them like they're my own. But then when a situation or an event comes up like this, you ready to go to the courthouse and divorce, you know what I mean? Your spouse. It's crazy. I like how he shared, his wife, he shared his own story. And yeah, it would be different. It would be different if this was her child, definitely. Again, she'd probably want to skip her graduation to go and support her own daughter or own son, you know what I mean? People act, we already know people act different when the child's not there. It's like we already know this. It could be consciously or you know what I mean? You might be doing it on purpose or you might be doing it by accident. You don't realize you're treating them different. But yeah, I agree with everything he said. And again, if it took this little situation for you to run to the courthouse for a big, big divorce, you didn't really love each other. But communication is defo key because if he texted her this, he's dead ass wrong. Like this is a conversation you need to have.
Me and my man's daughter are graduating on the same day. She's graduating from pre-K, but I'm graduating from college. Initially, I would feel some type of way because you just dropping a bomb on me, telling me you can't come to my graduation because you have to go to your daughter's graduation. I'm entitled to feel that way because it's so sudden, but I'm very understanding. I understand this is your daughter's first any type of graduation, you have to be there for your kid. But when I tell you, if your immediate rebuttal isn't, babe, I promise I'm gonna make it up to you. I'm gonna take you out to whatever you want to eat at after to celebrate you. I'm gonna buy you a new piece of jewelry, a new bag. I'm gonna buy you a new car. That's when we're gonna have a problem because what? Look, I understand you have kids. Your kids come first. That's how I feel. Your kids come first. But you better make sure I'm happy too. I'm an adult. I understand. And I took you in everything that you came with. But you better make sure that I'm happy too. Otherwise, there won't be much else to talk about.
Listen, she couldn't have put it any more perfectly. Like it's as simple as that. First of all, she said, you'd be upset slash pissed. Like she said, it's how he told her. So again, if he told her by text, that's crazy because it's bad news. So if you're gonna deliver bad news, it has to be in person. Like don't just text someone like or tell them over the phone. Well, husband and wife talk to me. You know what I mean? Communication. Where is the communication at? But I agree with her. If you're understanding, you'd get it. if you're a loving stepmom or if you've got kids of your own, you would get it because you would do the same. But yeah, I agree with her. But we have to do something to celebrate with me after, because again, with having kids and having a new woman or man, you have to have balance. They have to be happy too. Everyone in this family, the man, the woman, the child, everyone has to be happy. There's a balance. You know what I mean? The man can't be upset, but then the kids and wife are happy, vice versa. So, like she said, a nice meal or celebration, just us two, and then a celebration of all of us, because you know what I mean. The kids have graduated. You know what I mean. Let's turn up and you know what I mean. Maybe go on a nice family weekend holiday, you know what I mean? But I agree with everything she said. It's as simple as that. It didn't have to get that dramatic where we need to go to the courthouse and like if that was the case, you were just looking for a way out.
They was gonna get divorced either way. So he made the logical choice and went to his kid's pre-K graduation. So he was like, "Yo, I might as well not have two people mad at me." Like, if she divorced him because he went to his child's like pre-K graduation over her master ceremony, she was gonna get if she got divorced over this one moment. This ain't the first time they had like a situation where something like this happened, or there's definitely other stuff going on in their relationship to where they're getting a divorce. This is just the final straw. And he probably looked at this like, yo, it's logical, you know what I'm saying? And again, most people aren't going to remember their pre-K graduation, but you do remember like big disappointments when you're young. A lot of times you don't remember a lot of things that happen, but you do remember like disappointment or times you're upset. So he's choosing his kid in a situation where he's probably already headed to the divorce anyway. Like, unless he made some sort of grand gesture or like save the world or something, he was gonna get them divorce papers was coming, you know what I'm saying? Especially with that boost in the money she was about to make, she probably was about to divorce him regardless. So he looking at like, yeah, I'm gonna go rock with my kid because I know at the end of the day this is over, but this me and my kid are forever.
Yeah, shout out him. I love his response. He was telling the truth, but in a comical way. But yeah, again, if it only took this time to run to the courthouse, she wanted a divorce anyway. You know what I mean? But like people keep saying, a lot of kids don't remember their pre-K, but then they do remember being let down by their parents. So this is what I mean, like hand in hand. But yeah, again, everything he said was right. He mentioned, if he buys or something. This is what I'm saying. There's a balance to this. Fair enough, he can't be there while you get your double masters. It made me laugh about all the money that she's about to make. She probably wanted to divorce him anyway. Like, ooh. But yeah, I liked what he said and how he brought it. You know what I mean? Facts. Everything he said was on point. You know what I mean? There's just a balance. For me, it's really not this deep, and it's just mad how on TikTok it's so divided. We complain about deadbeat dads and dads not being there or dads putting their new girlfriends before their kids. And in this one scenario, the dad's picking the child over his wife, and people are like, oh, it's only pre-K, they won't remember. Oh, he don't love her. He's trying to, bring her down a notch, or he don't care for like, which, you know what I mean? This is what I hate with women. Like, we have to pick, like, which one do you want it to be? Because if he did pick the wife over his daughter, then they would have been like, oh, you know what I mean? Especially his ex or his baby moms, then she'll have something to say, you know what I mean? So it's like either way, he was doomed. But in my opinion, he made the right choice and picked his child. Period.
People are upset that that man chose to go to his daughter's pre-K graduation over his wife's college graduation. And my first question is, one, is the wife upset? If the wife ain't upset, then we don't have a discussion here at all. But let's say we do have a discussion here. As someone whose father did not show up for them, if I was with a man who had children and he talking about, oh, I don't know which one to go to, baby, you're going to that child's, you're going to whatever your child has. I don't care, because you cannot get those childhood memories back. Being an adult and looking back at your childhood and just knowing that people showed up for you is very important. And I'm sorry, I know some people that they have the whole, oh, wives and husbands, yes, but babes, we're grown. I'm not saying that the moments don't matter, but you can celebrate with me later. And I'll be so completely honest, a college graduation is very much boring. I don't even want to be there. If I was a college graduate, I wouldn't even want to be there. It's boring. I didn't finish. I have 1 year left to go in college when I do go back, and I don't even want to sit through the graduation. I don't. You be there for hours just sitting there.
Yeah, man. Shout out to her. She made some good points, and I hope she graduates. As much as it's boring, all that studying and all that hard work, blood and the tears. Like, you gotta go walk across that stage with your name being called out, and flipping your hat at the end. But yeah, I agree with what she said. First of all, that little girl where she got her certificate and just dropped down into the, I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, even myself, you know what I mean? I've got a daughter around that age. I can't wait for her to finish her first school year and graduate. Like, it's an exciting moment to look forward to. And like she said, if she was with a guy and he had kids and he's debating which one to go to, it's like, you're going to your chat. Like, are you stupid? You know what I mean? And they need more wives and girlfriends that encourage them to be in their child's life more. Because listen, if a guy ignores his previous children, I hate to mention it, but to give a good example, Brian McKnight, I've done a video on him recently. If you've not seen it, do check it out. But he got remarried, had a child, and he's adopted because he was a stepdad in that family. But he's ignored all his biological kids. So he's got four previously before he got remarried. And there's a lot of men that do that. They literally ignore their past life, their first set of children, and just focus on their new family. And if you're with a guy like that and you're enabling it and you're okay with it, that says a lot more about them, about you. Like that, like you're a very evil woman. So I like the fact that she said if she was with someone and they were thinking about it, no, you're going to your child's whatever event. And like she said, she remembers when her dad didn't turn up. I've got times like that when, you know what I mean, my dad said he was coming and in, like when you become an adult, you never forget those times. But trust me, if they tear up and they were in the audience cheering you on, trust me, you remember that.
I'm gonna be at my daughter's graduation. I'm going to be at my daughter's graduation. If both my daughter and my wife, both their graduations fall on the same day, I'm going to be at my hell. My wife probably even canceled walking at her graduation just to see our daughter graduate. I was at my daughter's pre-K ceremony last year. A young boy whose dad I know is an amazing father. That man is in his son's life all the time. He was late to the pre-K. His son was in shock. I'm talking. They couldn't get him to stop crying. Bro was just, I want my dad here. That man walked in that room. That boy lit up. I'm talking. Oh my God. That boy went from crying his eyes out to having a panic attack to all of a sudden, I'm good now. Dad's here. To you, it may seem like just some random preschool graduation where they show macaroni art and what the kids did. Now they're going to kindergarten. But to that kid, that's the world. That's everything that they've accomplished so far in life. We're going to celebrate, tee up. I'm going to get you an amazing ass gift for that graduation, baby. But I'm going to baby girl's graduation first.
Yeah, shout out to him. And everything he said was on point. I've seen it. So in my starter school, they do a lot of stay and play. I try and go to most. I've been to most of them. I've only missed a couple because I really couldn't make it. But when other kids see other people's parents, they're kind of like, oh, I want my mommy or I want my dad, and they can get really upset. So, like he shared that just because his dad, very active in his life, always there, but he was late, the kid couldn't stop crying. And as soon as his dad turned up, he was on top of the world. And this is what I mean for kids. We're us as their parents, we're their first superheroes, their first love. Like they look up to us, in it. We're their idol, they admire us. So when we let them down, it's not just, as adults when we get let down, it really affects them and it really hurts them. And I just feel like a lot of people are not deep in it. They're like, oh yeah, he mentioned the macaroni and you know what I mean, it's only pre-keep it, you know what I mean? Like I get it versus the masters. Trust me, I understand. But I've been that little girl and I've been, you know what I mean, let down, disappointed, and it does stick with you. And there's not a lot of dads who are active in a lot of people's lives, especially in the black community. So we already know the effects of that. Women grow up, they have a lot of dad issues, etc., trust issues. You know what I mean? So it's the little things. You know what I mean? Kids don't want much. They want your attention. They want you to play with them. They want you to turn up when they've got special events. You know what I mean? They don't want much. You know what I'm saying? And if you've chose to have these kids, you can't put people or things above them. Period.
When you get married to someone who has children, the hope is that you consider those children your children, because when you marry someone, you're taking everything that they have with them. And if you expect your husband to miss his child's graduation, right, then that means you do not value that child and that child's accomplishment. Yes, you graduated something, but that is a child. That is a child that the child doesn't understand that their step parent, because you are supposed to technically be now an extension to that child. They don't understand why their father didn't come to their graduation. All they know is daddy didn't come. And hopefully you as well didn't come. So that's all they're thinking, not, oh, my stepmom's graduating as well. So her, and then even if they understand that you're graduating, so to a child, it's like, oh, so she was more important than me. Okay. Okay. Women like this scare me. They really do. You can't be mad at Brian McKnight for basically abandoning his children from his previous marriages, because it's women like that that create situations like this. Like, I just saw another video of a woman saying that she would fully expect her husband to choose her over his child. She would fully expect her husband to put her before the child that he had before they were married. And then people are in the comments saying that no, the child comes first. And she's like, well, that's why you ain't never been married, and that's why you will never be married. Now, that same woman, if she was in that situation, if she did get divorced for whatever reason, and if that man then turns around and treats her child the same way, like the child is optional, she would, how could you dare treat our children like this? Women, anyone who, when you let me back up. When you are in a marriage, right? And let's say, and people always say you have to put, as a couple, you put each other before the kids. That is only valid. That is only valid when it is your children. When it is both of your biological children in that relationship, that is the only time that that is ever accurate. Because now when you incorporate outside entities, there is no guarantee that what's beneficial for the other party, like attending her graduation, right, is going to be beneficial for the child. So there is no, we're going to put the needs of one another above the child, because the child is going to get left behind. And here's why I say that's only valid when both people are biologically related to the child. And that's not to say that step parents can't care about children as much as parents, or sometimes even more than parents. But the biological parents, those, when it's two biological parents, right? Those are the only two people who are naturally obligated to the children, who are naturally obligated to ensure the children are good. So even in a divorce, right? Me and my husband got a divorce. We are both still parents to these two kids. We are both obligated. If I get into a relationship and my relationship ends and the person leaves my life, that person is no longer obligated to be a part of my children's life. He gets into a relationship. If that relationship doesn't work, whoever she is once they're breaking up, is no longer obligated to be in my children's life or be a part of my children's life. Do some step parents still stick around? Yes, but that is not all the time. Let's be honest. And hell, some biological parents don't stick around either. But you, no matter which way a relationship goes, you're obligated to that child. You're obligated to that child. So yes, it might hurt your feelings a little bit. And yes, you're entitled to feel like, dang, like you want your husband to be there. Like, of course you want your husband to be there at your accomplishment, but it should all, especially if you want children with that man, it should bring you a certain level of peace that is how he will treat your children in the future. God forbid the relationship ever ends. I would never get with a man who would not put his children first. And I think that's where a lot of y'all bitches mess up. A lot of y'all get with men that will other their children and put their children on the back burner for you. Y'all know this man got kids and y'all been on dates. Y'all been hanging out all the time, but he ain't never been with his kids. And you think, no, I don't care. Not my kids, not my problem. And then when you find yourself in that situation, you're shocked.
Jeez, Jeez, where do I start? She touched on so much. First of all, let's mention Brian McKnight again. I had to fall out when she mentioned, because I just mentioned him in the previous clip, but again, that's the perfect example that we're seeing. And obviously people are in the comments like, how can you leave your kids? How can you just start again? Da, 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 da. And it's just like, but then it'll be these same people who are on the wife's side, and it's just like, huh? Like 2 plus 2, it's not adding. Like the math ain't mathing. But like she stated, women like that scare me. Yeah, women that see their man treat their previous kids bad or put them before their kids, women like that are, for me, pure evil and scary. And yeah, they think they're winning, you know what I mean? But no, let's use the whole Cassie and Diddy. He treated Kim Porter, because he was juggling between Kim Porter and Cassie. He was treating, Kim so bad, and she literally just gave birth and had twins for him. And Cassie used to laugh at her and da 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 da. And you know what I mean? Fast forward for 2025, Cassie's in court talking about all the horrendous things that P. Diddy put her through. You know what I mean? But yeah, never laugh at who they had before, their ex-wife or their baby moms, because if they treated them really bad in the future, they could do exactly the same to you or worse. So, like she's touched on, a man that puts the woman in front of the kids, or they're always going on dates and you never see him with his kids and they're laughing like, yeah, that's my man. He don't need to look after those kids. In the future, if you decide to have kids with him and then he does the same things to your kids that you have together, I'm gonna need you to keep that same energy, because the saying, what people do to others, they can do to you. So just watch how people treat other people, you know what I mean? Don't think they're gonna treat everyone else bad, but they're gonna treat you so good, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was long, it was lengthy, but I agree with everything she said. Like, but I just love how she brought up the Brian McKnight. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way. But it's so true. That is the perfect example for those that don't get it. Watch that video I did, even though that's not really about him starting a whole new family. That's sadly about his son passing. But you can watch other people's video. You can Google Brian McKnight. Just type in Brian McKnight and his kids, and you'll just see the whole. It's crazy.
Unpopular opinion, but as a wife and a mom, I would have 100% supported my husband attending his child's pre-K graduation over my graduation, even if it was a double master's. Let's talk about it. So I came across the video just a minute ago, and a girl was ranting because a husband chose to attend his child's pre-K graduation over his wife's double master's degree graduation. And I get it. I know what the word says and all the things, wife comes first, everything. I get it. And for the most part, yes, that child is going to grow up and leave, and then it's going to be you and your wife. I know, I get it. We all know. However, when it comes to children 4 or 5 years old, they know who was not there for them. The wife knew that child existed before whatever, or had to, because the baby ain't but 4 or 5, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But anyway, I could not sit in a place of anger and be upset because, one, it wouldn't have even been a conversation in my house. We show up for our children. We don't care what we have going on. If my child is throwing a piece of paper across the classroom and parents are supposed to be involved and supposed to be there, daggone it, we're gonna be there. So yes, he should have been there. Baby, my trip is booked. Baby, my truck better be sitting out in the yard with a bow on it. I'm good. I would be okay. Shoot, I probably wouldn't have even walked. So wouldn't that been a big deal to me? You show up for your child, we can celebrate at a different time. I just found it weird that people were in the comments also saying, well, it's just pre-K. I can see if it was graduate high school, but it's pre-K. I don't care what it is. You show up for your child, period. They are going to look out there and see you not there. Imagine that. Ain't no way. Not my child. And we love to say stepchildren should be just like your real children until something like this happened, because she can't have any children. If it was her graduation and it was her child that was graduating, would she have not gone to her graduation so she could attend her graduation? It's giving no because it's giving selfish. But y'all can have that one. But as for me, I would have highly encouraged my husband to go ahead and go there, and he would have been good when he got back home.
Yeah, guys, I agree with everything she said. Let me know in the comments, how does it work maybe in your household, or what do you believe? You know, for religious people, it's God first, then the husband, then the wife, then the kids. Sometimes it's God first, the husband, the children, then the wife. You know what I mean? It's like even women that die during childbirth, some people prefer the child to pass and some people prefer the mother to pass. There was a big debate on Backchat London. Shout out to them lot on Backchat London. One time a husband had to make the choice, either let the baby go or the wife go, and a lot of men on the panel were like, let the wife go. And then obviously the women were like, ah, you know what I mean? And then they're like, yeah, but you've lived, like, this is an innocent baby, da 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 da. But with my children's dad, what I've learned is there's a big thing in his culture saying you let the child go, because at least you, as husband and wife, you can try again to have more kids. And even if you can't, you can adopt, IVF, you know, all that stuff there. But once that wife is gone, like, she's gone, you get what I mean? And all a man is gonna do is raise that child and find a new spouse, you know what I mean? But I know everyone's household culture is different. But kids always come first, period. I'm like what that woman said. I don't care if it's pre-K, you know what I mean, high school, college, kids always come first. And like she said, just have that pretty red bow on my new truck. Everything's good, you know what I mean? But yeah, if you've got a woman that's jealous of your child, you need to cut her and leave her, because like she stated, fair enough, it's your stepdaughter, but you're meant to see it as a real daughter, you know what I mean? We don't do all that step. Like even me, I've got step siblings. You're either my sibling or you're not. I don't go, oh, that's my half brother, or that's my half, we're brother and sister, you know what I mean? I don't do all that stuff. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've gone through something like this, let me know also. But yeah, kids always come first. If you're going to take anything from this video, kids are number one and they always come first. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.